Hello everyone and welcome to the Crafty Cauldron. I am JoBeth Sexton and I am here today to do a craft with me / tutorial thing. So I want to say first of all thank you to and welcome to all of my new subscribers. You guys are awesome, and thank you and welcome back to all of my existing subscribers because you guys are awesome too. So I thank you and I hope everyone is doing well. What we're going to do is I'm going to try to do one of these little guys here. This is for a little bit later. We're going to have a pyrography demo and tutorial / tutorial. So that's for later. So and I'll even show you how I set up, because I have to kind of set up between this and that. But this shouldn't take too long, hopefully. So what do we have here? We have 8:30. It's 8:30 a.m. I'm early again. So what this is this is actually aluminum tape, and it comes on a really big roll. This opens up like ta-da, this, and I got the idea from a couple of different places. Pam at the Paper Outpost, and I can't remember who else. I think it was Amy at Crafty Cat. But, oh, Donna at String and Scissors. That's who. There we go. Basically, this was cut out of a 12 by 12 piece of paper, but you could also make it with 3 6 by 6s, because each square is a 6 by 6 square. So we're going to try to do it with the three pieces of 6 by 6, which I've already picked out here. And yes, I've been crafting all morning. You can tell because of the red stain on my hands. But that's what you get, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this little insert thingy for the journal that I'm making, the Hecate Journal, which is why these are red. I didn't have purple, so I'm using what I have. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold these like this in half. You want to try to make sure that you get them right on the corners. I need my burnisher thingy. Bone folder. Okay, so there's that one. And then you want to go crossways. And then like this. And I don't think there are any other folds in each square. I think that is it. So each square, you have 3 squares. You want to fold them similarly to this, and you want to kind of train it so it's going to fold up like that. So what I've done is I've just taken it and folded these the fold that goes from corner to corner will get tucked in, and everything else just kind of follows. So that's the first one. Let's do the second one, if I can get my hands to work here. And fully fold, and then make 4 squares on your paper with the folds. There we go. Sorry about my sniffly nose. My allergies are bothering me again. Had a little day out yesterday. We went to, well, there's this little tourist attraction up the road from us, about, I don't know, 8 miles. Called Goldfield Ghost Town, and I went and took a bunch of pictures because I've got plans for those pictures. Oh, there we go, number 2. And number 3, this is the one that's going to go in the center because there's no pattern on the back, and I really don't mind if my pattern is sideways, upside down, backwards. I don't mind either. It doesn't really matter to me because I just like the haphazardness of it. I like my journals grungy, and I like them to look like, oh, excuse me. I like them to look like they are kind of just, you know, pieced together from stuff, just like a true junk journal, even though this one is not a true junk journal because I'm using paper pack paper such as this. This is paper pack paper from a little 6 by 6, and I'll show you the pack in just a moment. So yeah, we took the dog out, and Jack is like 14 years old now, so he got tired about as quickly as I did. I'm not used to it. Part of the walk is it's uphill. When you're going in, it's uphill, and when you're going out, it's downhill. So downhill was easy. So hold on just a sec. I'm still here. I'm just grabbing out the paper pack that I'm using because I wanted to show you this. This is it. I got this at Tuesday morning, a while back. You can tell. And I'm using this paper. It's not cardstock. And I'm using paper because I want to be able to stick it into this journal without creating a whole lot of bulk. So here's my prototype. And what we're going to do is we're just going to glue these like this. And then, let's see, this one goes in the middle. Yep. We're going to glue these like this. And we'll have it. See that? Look at that. And all of the corner to corner folds should be going up and down, vertical. So we'll just get some art glitter glue, if I can find out where I stashed that. Let's put this over here so I don't mistakenly glue it to something. So we're going to go here. Whoop. Make sure that stays. And we don't want to really get it too much gushy. We don't want it squishing out all over. And you don't want to put it right on the fold. You want to put it just shy of the fold, just barely. So there's that one. And then there's this one. Goes on this square. Way easier than going to the trouble of making it from a 12 by 12, especially if you've got a lot of offcuts or you've got a 6 by 6 pad of paper that you don't really like, because you can decorate over this easy. Okay, so we're going to, these two are going to fold outward. These two, let's see here. Make sure I'm folding it right. I don't have a lot of room here, so better cap my glue or it'll dry out. Dry out. Don't want that to happen. Okay, so folding in, fold that in, fold this one in, and fold this one in. So there we have it. There's our little. And you pull it out, it just has all this journaling space inside of it. It's amazing. Now, another thing that you can do is you can use ugly paper. I use the term loosely, paper that you don't like, and then you can decorate on the outside squares. I happen to like this design, so I may add a label and a picture, like a little word or something like that. But I mean, that's a pretty good pattern, and the fleur-de-lis is a pretty good pattern, so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Let me just turn my light down a little. Whoop. Apparently it was down a little. Okay, so we've got that. It folds up like that. Okay. And then here's my prototype with, and what I did with this one was I glued on, let's see if I can get my camera to focus on you. There we go. I glued down some cardstock. Actually, I think that's really thin. It's like a cereal box. And then on top of that, I just taped over with the aluminum tape. And I'm sorry about the glare if there's a glare there, but that's like really shiny. Super shiny. Okay, so that little project is done, and that's going to go over to the side here. So what I've got is, I've got this. And this is it's dusty, yes. It's a Burnmaster Eagle wood burner by Master Carver. I got it on eBay. I've had it for several years. It works great. You've got a heat adjuster. You've got a handpiece selector here, so you can use the right or left. And once the one is turned on, the other one won't heat up, which is a huge advantage. Then you've got your temperature control here. And that's important because say you're burning cork, you don't want it to be too hot. If you're burning a hardwood, you're going to want to turn it up a bit. But you also need a test piece of wood to make sure that you're not going to burn it too much, because of course, if you burn it too much, the burn spreads a little. So if the wood is really soft or very light, like balsa, it's going to kind of spread if you're using too high heat. And if that happens, it'll ruin your design. Well, it's potentially could ruin your design. This is the on-off, and this is the pen. Now, the pen has 2 little screws in it because you can unscrew these and you can take out the tip and you can replace it with another tip. For example, I have the second pen has this tip in it. Come on, man, focus for me. Okay, it's kind of a square flat, and that's for shading really, really large areas. This one is a little teeny point. Let's see if I can get that to focus. Yeah, there we go, little teeny point. And it is good for what I'm going to be doing today, although I may use this one for the edge. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that your pen is inside the coil on the top. Okay, coils cool faster, so this is kind of important. You also want to make sure, if you've used it before, that your rubber protector is scooched all the way up. They kind of shift a little bit. I like them all the way up like this because I tend to rest my hand on that bump. Okay, this is going to sit beside me over there on top of a piece of cork board. Cork is used because, and I work on cork also, the cork is used to, first of all, it's a really soft surface, which I like because it's kind of cushy, but also it absorbs heat really well, so you can work on a wooden tabletop and not ruin it, as long as you keep your project on the cork. And because our project is relatively small, then this is going to be easy to do. Okay, now what I'm going to do is turn this on and let it heat up. Now I believe that the pen cord is like 4 feet long, 3 feet long. It's long enough though. So what we have is, this is for the front of my Hecate journal, and I've already got the pattern on it that I got on there with a pencil lead transfer. This is I believe this is basswood. It's very light, and it's very burnable. So I'm going to start off with, let's see, I think I have a scrap in here somewhere. Not entirely prepared. Par for the course. You got it. It's not in that drawer. Oops. Oopsie. And it doesn't look like it's in this drawer. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I can always do it on the back, because the back is not going to show. So we've got our pen, and it appears that it's probably heated up. I'm going to test it on the cork first. Yep, it's smoking. Can you, since you're up, can you open the back door about that far? I've got my ventilation. My husband is opening the back door for me because I'm a doofus and forgot. I do not have a zoom on this camera, and I apologize for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down just a little bit by just moving the camera. So look away if this makes you dizzy. I don't want to cause anybody to get dizzy or nauseous. That's about as far as I can get right there. And that is right in front of my nose. So that's about it. Okay, so what I have it set on 5 right now. And I'm going to just kind of, that looks like it's going to be okay. Can you see that? See, it's not burning really, really fast or really super hot. So that's going to be okay.
What are we burning?
We're burning.
Today?
Ah, yes, I'm not going to do a Monty Python and answer that one, no. My husband's in the Halloween spirit. Isn't it great? He's such a goofball. It cracks me up. I love it. Don't get me wrong. Okay, first of all, this little piece of wood has a little bit of a ring feature. You know how trees have rings? When they slice the wood, they can't get rid of that. It's naturally part of the wood. So what you have to be aware of is when there is a ring like that, that will burn differently. Generally, the wood in a ring is denser, more dense, however you want to say that. And that means that it's going to take more heat or a longer application in order to make that look like the surrounding part of the wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start way over here because I'm right-handed. And I'm just going to kind of go around the outline a little bit. And look and see how that's bleeding a little. It's up too high. So we're going to turn it down to 4.5, 4. So we're just going to go around the outline and make this Hecate's wheel. And I'm going to come up past this knot. And apparently it's not too dense. So it's burning generally the same as everything else. And yes, this does take a while, but the result is really beautiful. And you can create all kinds of gradients and shades, and just like using a pencil. You know, you got to get used to it and stuff, but I suggest getting some scrap wood if you're going to do this. And starting with scrap wood. I started with scrap wood, and I created a whole bunch of things. One of these days I'll bring out my personal book of shadows, and I will show you the cover of that. It's wood, and it's not done. It's a work in progress, and that's the way that I wanted it. I wanted to keep it, parts of it blank enough that I could add things over the years. And that I will bring out and show you at some later point. But for now, we're just going to, okay, I'm going to turn that up just a tad. Let's go a little bit higher. So the button that gives you the ability to change the heat to you know, make it hotter or not so hot by increments is really a good thing. And when I got this burn kit, this pyrography kit, it was, I believe it was like $250. But it had all the tips and 2 pins and a carry case and all kinds of stuff. So it's, oh, and you know what? I forgot one thing. When you're burning, you need like a stone. Let me see, I gotta find something. Or a piece of sandpaper, a sanding block or something like that, because when a very, very fine sanding block, not something that's really coarse, because when you're burning, the carbon collects on your tip and then it won't burn through the carbon. So you have to kind of rub it on something to get that off of there. And I had, oh, you know what? Don't go away. I'll be right back. Here, you can look at this cute little thing I'm going to put in my journal. I mean, the journal. Oh, there's a sanding block. Woo! And I found some test wood, but this is pine. There we go. You can see the ring marks. You can actually see that there's still sap kind of leaking out too. And that's fine. It just makes the tip collect carbon faster. So what I'm going to do is, since I have this sanding block it's about probably 150 grit, which is a little more than I like, but it's okay. I mean, it's okay. It'll work. I'm going to put that up there so I don't burn it up. If you go slower, it's going to burn into the wood deeper. And the great thing about this is you can burn it like this and it'll stay. It's not like sometimes you use paint and the paint will kind of soak into the wood or something like that. This is as it is when you put it on there. Now, if you leave it in the sun, it's going to fade. Unless you spray it with some kind of sealer like polyurethane or boat varnish or something like that. If you're going to put it outside, I suggest boat varnish because that will weatherize it. It'll weatherproof it. And that's the whole idea behind boat varnish because, you know, it's going to be in the water and exposed to the elements. Wind, rain, salt. I haven't done this in a really long time, but I'm happy with it so far. So yeah, we went to the ghost town over the weekend. I needed to get out. I need no more exercise. I feel like if I start walking, I will feel better. And it's cooling off, as you can tell, because, well, our back door is open just a teeny bit to help ventilate this. Yes, I have a fan going. I do not suggest doing this in an area that's not well ventilated because it's smoke, and smoke isn't good for your lungs, whether you have a breathing disorder, disease, or whatever, or not. So please be careful if you're going to do this. I also suggest wearing eye protection because eye protection is important no matter what. You never know what's going to pop, right? It could pop. Probably it won't. Usually mine doesn't. But if there's a lot of sap, if you hit like a pocket of sap, it could, potentially. The ghost town is really cool. They have a couple of museums inside and a lot of shops. They have an apothecary and this apothecary is amazing. Their products are amazing. They have homemade soap, all kinds of stuff. But I love their homemade bar soap. And they have this amazing lip balm too. It's really good. But it's $5 a tube. So that's, you know, out. We didn't get anything from there. I didn't even go in because I was like, Mark, I don't want to go in there. I just want to buy $20 worth of stuff. And that's not difficult to do since a bar of soap is like $5. But it's worth it because it's handmade, you know. It's good stuff. Okay, so this is solid. Let me see. Let me get my example over here. It's already in my book. I think that outer ring is solid. Come on, where are you? Can't find it. You know, isn't that weird? There it is. Oh, yes. The outer ring is solid. And sometimes you want to go, if you notice this edge, I'm doing like from this angle. And then when I come over here, I'm doing the inside of the other edge, the opposite edge. And that helps to just even it out inside the burn area. Let's see here. Kind of difficult to see this part, but we're gonna go for it. Yep, there we go. Okay. Now, carbon. You can always tell when the carbon's building up because it stops burning so well. And that is a telltale, which is cool. It's cool. It's actually hot. So the ghost town also has this old house. It's really gorgeous. It has black wrought iron railings and a spiral staircase on the outside, which I got pictures of from the outside of the building because it was closed. Don't know why, because the sign on the door said it was supposed to be open, but the door was still locked, and I was just like, well, darn it. Because what I wanted to do was go in there and get a bunch of photographs of the rooms because they're cool, and they say that bordello is haunted. I don't know if it is or not. I didn't feel anything coming from it. Of course, it didn't go inside either, so. But it's really cool. I've been inside of there before and had a tour. And they also have horseback riding. And Mark went into every time we go there. And Google said we hadn't been there for 4 years. How Google knows, I don't know. It's kind of scary if you ask me. But hey, 4 years and it's just up the road. But then again, my health hasn't been all that great. So Mark went into the mercantile, or mercantile, however you would like to say it, and bought some of the best fudge in the area. Homemade. He had a sampling of it yesterday. He took a sliver off of one of the pieces. It's like a pound for, I don't know how much, $15 or something. But if you buy a pound, then you get another quarter pound free. Ooh. See that puff of smoke? Yes, that's because I hadn't been burning and the tip gets hotter. So you kind of have to keep that in mind too. Anyway, so he got a pound and a quarter of fudge. He got, oh gosh, black licorice, chocolate raspberry, peanut butter fudge, maple fudge, which is my freaking favorite, and it's 100% sugar, so I can have like a piece as big as my thumbnail. Yeah, that's about all I can have at once. I can have a little bit. Enough to taste. But that's my favorite. I used to, I love those maple candies you get from, I don't know, where is it? Illinois or something? The traditional maple candy. Oh my God. Oh, those are so good. Oh, yeah, I'm a carboholic. So being a diabetic is really difficult in that area. I just can't eat what I used to eat. We took the dog. The dog, he's 14 something. He's 14 almost, or just past, something like that. But he did really well, considering he's not in really good health either. He has seizures, and he's on medication for it, but sometimes he gets really excited, and he has a seizure out of the blue, which is disturbing, highly, for me. Poor thing. Not the same dog he used to be. But then I'm not the same person. I'm not the same girly girl I used to be, so. Okay, so here we go. It's kind of squiggly and wiggly, but you can see where I'm going with it. And after I'm done, I may actually stain this a nice reddish stain. I have something in my stash, a reddish stain. Kind of old, but it's water-based, so it's really cool. Sorry, I have to. So this is turning out really nice. Okay, now we're ready to do. Okay, so this goes. There we go. Here. I plan on doing another Goddess Journal very soon. This one is going to be the Morrigan, and it's going to be hopefully ready before midwinter. Midwinter, or winter solstice, is an interesting time of the year. It's the longest night, and it's my favorite time of year. I mean, fall into midwinter is my favorite time of year, and I don't know, I feel more energized and inspired also, as crazy as that sounds. I just love this season. When I lived up in Sholo, oh my gosh, the snow. I loved the snow. And oh, it was so cool because I had never really, I mean, I lived in a place that it snowed when I was a little kid, like a year old. We lived in Oregon. And of course it snowed there. And I have very, very kind of memories, but memories with big holes in them because I was so young. For example, I remember when a pine tree a snow-laden pine tree fell through our top story window, and I don't remember it falling through the window, but I do remember standing in the window and feeling the cold. And my mom, she says she kind of freaked out because I was standing in the middle of all the broken glass. I was like a year old. Yeah. But she ran in and got me, and she said my feet weren't even cut. She couldn't understand it. Little baby feet, as tender as they were, and I didn't even get cut. Isn't that weird? Anyway, very interesting. Let's go the other side now. Yeah, so this takes a while. And I'm only going to keep you for an hour, so if I don't finish this, I will show you what I do, or have done, I should say, in another video. I do have some plans for Craft With Me videos. One of them is I'm going to be making a soft cover journal for Yule, and it's going to be blue. It's not going to be a traditional Christmas, American Christmas. It's going to be the ancient pagan holiday of Yule. So that's going to be quite different, and it's blue. It's going to be blue because I found some great fabric at the thrift store. In fact, I'll just show you. I did it in another video, but I'm going to show you real quick because it's sitting right here drying. Already got kind of put the cover together. So this is the cover. Isn't that gorgeous? And then this is the inside, and it's blue velvet. So that's cool. And the blue velvet is from this huge set of drapes that I got also at the thrift store. And dang, it's huge. It's a huge piece of velvet, and it only costs like $6. Now you tell me where you can find 4 yards of velvet for $6. You know, if you're just buying it. No, let's recycle. You guys can't hear what I can hear, but as I touch this, it makes a burning sound. It goes tss, tss, like that. I kind of like it, but I'm weird. A little strange, and that's okay with me. I can also see the moisture that is coming out as I'm doing this. One of the things that happens when you're burning any kind of wood is that it releases moisture. If it's too wet, it won't burn well. And I can't see all of my patterns, so I'm kind of winging it at some parts. Yeah, it's getting a little smoky. But like I said, have a fan on. You can't hear it because it's a ceiling fan. Now, I have done a lot of different things. I did a spirit board. Actually, I've done many spirit boards, and I start with birch. And because birch is a more hardwood, it's heavier as well, but oh my God, it's so fun. And what I do is I will find a picture and I just freehand draw it onto the wood. And so it's not like this, like a pattern. I freehand draw it and then burn that. And then after that's all done and I've stained it and everything, I will leave it out and I will sage it or use some other kind of cleansing, like moonlight, sunlight, a little bit of salt, maybe, I don't know, something like that. Depending on what kind of a, I don't know, plant I have around at the time. If I'm out of sage, I can always use, I have mugwort in my front yard, and that is a really good sage smudging, not sage, it's a really good smudging material because it's sacred to certain, I don't know, things that I believe in. So that I follow closely. And it's all just a part of it. I don't believe in buying your Parker Brothers Ouija board because how many people have actually handled that? And that's my beef with that. That's all I'm going to say about that. Forrest Gump. Oh. So you can see it makes a great contrast. Great contrast. And even though it takes a little while, it's so worth it. It's just, I mean, it's permanent. And being on a light piece of wood, it's not going to cause a lot of weight in the journal. So it's going to be really, really, it's like the optimum thing to use if you want something super, super permanent. Paper's good. I like to use paper sometimes, like if I can put it in a frame that's going to protect it, like on my vampire journal. And I do have a flip through on my channel for that vampire journal. It has not been sold yet. It is in my Etsy store. If you're interested, you can find a link to that Etsy store, to my Etsy store, down below this video, as well as other things like Instagram. So, yeah, I would rather use something a little bit more sturdy, I guess, more permanent. And I don't mind using paper, don't get me wrong. Paper sometimes is the best because of the look it gives you, the appearance. So I do use that as well. Well, the birds are chirping outside. You guys can't hear that, but I can. We have these towhees. We have cactus wren, which is our state bird, and man, are they just so full of personality. Whoa. They're like the magpies of the desert. Although they're too skittish to come and eat from your hand. Pretty intelligent birds, too. It's really neat. I like watching them. And they mess with our dog. Oh my god, it's so funny. They will fly low, land close, and wait for the dog to come into their, like, turn and look at them. And then they'll get ready to take off, but they won't move until he gets too close, like almost too close. It's really fun. Okay, got quiet there for a second, didn't I? Sorry about that. So you can see where my design is going. I really enjoy doing this. It's definitely a winter project, though. Around here, I mean, it's... I would not enjoy this when it's 120 outside. I don't know what it is, but when you know it's that hot outside, it seems like you just get hotter when you're in the house. Maybe it's all psychological, but whether it is or it isn't, that's how I feel. Let's see, little things over here I need to kind of touch up. There's a little spot right there I need to touch up. Barely touching it with the tip. Okay, you can see the little smoke rising up and stuff. That's the reason I didn't want to do this before, because it wasn't cool enough to open the back door, and I really need that ventilation because of my breathing problems. Having asthma sucks. But you people with asthma know that already. Yeah. So... I'm going to be very, very careful, because if you burn too much, you can potentially fix it. The way that you would fix it is you get an X-Acto and you pick out the part that's burned. But if you burn deep, then you don't have that option, because you would just make a hole in the wood. a dent in the wood, I might want to say, rather than a hole. And that can mess up your design. But it is easy, as you will find if you do this, and if you continue to do it, you will come up with ways to modify your style to be able to fix your mistakes. And because I've been doing this for a while, I kind of have a little bit of a knack, a little bit of a personal, how I like to do things, preference of how I'd like to do them. So, yeah, I just kind of do my thing. So we're more than halfway done. Now there are ways to shade. When you are shading with a hot pen like this, with a pyrography kit, you're really going to need some practice wood. Like, you know, even if it's got the rings in it like that, it doesn't matter. You can still practice, because when you have rings in there, it's going to help you hone your skill. It's going to help you, you know, figure out what you can do to make it look the way that you want it, regardless of how the wood is, regardless of how many rings there are in the wood. So, yeah, just you can get scrap wood from the hardware store for pennies. I'm not kidding. We have gone into Home Depot many times and gone to the back of the store where they kind of have the saw, and they usually have a cart back there that has a bunch of scraps wood on it. Well, not all of the wood is suitable for this, but you can get, like, what am I doing? Sorry, lost my head. You can get a scrap of wood that is, you know, adequate for practice for $1 or $2. And I'm not kidding, $1 or $2. We have gotten wood that we have used for serious projects for $1 or $2, and this includes wood that is, like, you know, 1 by 6 or 8, or 2 by 6 or 8, or whatever, and they are just as good. It's just that sometimes they're warped, or they have a splintered end or something like that. Warping isn't too difficult to fix if you want to take the time to do it. I haven't had to do that yet. That's okay. I don't mind that. What I'm going to do once I'm done with this is I'm going to sand it, probably with that block right there, and then go over it with a finer grit, and make sure that I've got all the little, it makes little kind of burrs, little pieces that stick up off your wood. And you want to, especially if it's going to go on the front of a journal, you want it to be flat and smooth. Then once I sand it, I'm going to stain it, seal it, and it'll be ready to stick on the front of the journal. So you just keep your eyes on my channel. Subscribe if you would. That would be awesome. And I thank you for doing that. And you'll get to see, of course, you know, just click the all bell. When you go to subscribe, you just click that bell, and it'll have a little menu that comes up. It says all. It says there's two other options, like personalized and something else I can't remember, because I always click all. I don't even look at the other two. I just click all. And I do that because there's so many people out there with great ideas, and it's just really hard to keep up. So I just pick and choose which videos I'm going to watch after that. It's not a difficult thing to do, but. And so far, I have not unsubscribed from anyone except one person, one channel. It's not a person per se, but. And I suggest that if you're not planning on staying subscribed to a channel, don't subscribe, because it's really, really difficult to get subscribers. And when someone comes along and unsubscribes, it's kind of depressing. You know, it's kind of, you go over in your mind. Now, I let it go because there's nothing else I can do, but you go over in your mind, now, why did they do that? What am I doing wrong, you know? And I'm sure everyone feels that way at some point. I have to talk myself into letting it go because I want my subscribers, because once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I will be able to do things like live stream from my phone, which will enable me to live stream from my garden if I would like to do gardening stuff, or paper dyeing outside, or, you know, such as that. So, yeah, click that bell, click that subscribe, and you'll get to see the, get a notification for when I get done with this Hecate Journal. I will do a flip through and list it in my Etsy store. It shouldn't be too much longer. It's coming along really nicely. If there's time after I'm done with this, I will kind of show you what I've added to it. Psst, psst, psst. Smoky. Oh, ooh, that stinks. Probably not good for me either. When I stain it, it's going to make these wiggly edges kind of fade out a little bit, because it's going to let's see, how do I phrase this? It's going to reduce the contrast a bit, which sometimes can be a good thing, because if you've got some squiggly edges, reducing contrast is going to help hide them. Just like inking your paper will hide the things on the edges sometimes, to a point. So let's go around the inside of that ring. Almost done, folks. Almost done. Almost done with this design. Yep. So while we were at the ghost town, I know I keep going back to this, but I had so much fun. We were only there for like an hour. But when you don't get out of the house very often, an hour can be loads of fun. And they have all these old pieces of equipment and stoves and like smelting buckets and stuff, because it's a gold town. It's a gold mine. It was a gold mine a long time ago. And melt buckets or pour buckets, and they're freaking huge. And I got some really cool pictures of those. But what I really was enjoying was they had an old printing press, and it was sitting under an overhanging roof, but it was all, of course, rusted, and they had a little keyboard, like where you're supposed to, you know, type stuff in and all this, and oh my god, it was so cool. I didn't remember that being there before, but I do remember some things. I haven't been there in so long. Oh, so fun. Yeah, but the printing press was really cool, and I'm very, very interested in that because, of course, you know, books. And I took some pictures of that. Took some pictures of, you know, the structures and old stoves, and it was just really, really fun. And some textures and just the gorgeous wood grain stuff, and I found some really unusual things to take pictures of as well, but that's top secret for now. Just keep your eye here, and I'll try and remember to do a printout of what I found and see what happens from there. See what you guys think. Okay, we're just about done, just putting touch-ups on it. Little touch-ups here and there. Oh, got to do the center. Now that has pointy ends on it, so this may not be the way to go, but I have a solution. I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to get my other pen. switch my switch over to the other pen portal. And the way that we change a tip, I'll show you that. I just got to find my tips and make sure that I'm going to be using the right one. Okay, those will do it. Those will do it. Need a little screwdriver. This whole thing is just so fun. So this is a cold pen. It's not warm at all because it wasn't plugged in or used yet for this session. So you just unscrew the screws, and those are what hold them in. It's really a very simple setup. This is like a tube on the end. I don't know if you guys can. You just pull this out like that, and see it's just copper down there, so it's very heat conductive. So your pins go down inside of there, and what I've got here is, and these little things came with the kit. Don't know if they still do. We have a couple of tips here. We have, these are both pointy. You see how skinny they are? They're so narrow. So I think I'm going to use this one, and it'll involve a lot of twisty turnies. So that's going to go in there just for safekeeping. Oh, wrong one. There's little holes in the bottom of that. There's little like sleeves that the containers go in. So let's put this on the right way so I don't have to like, let's put it on the other way. Okay, so it doesn't have to go all the way down, it just has to go to the screws. And sometimes you don't want it to go all the way down because, I mean, it'll go all the way to here. And that may be too short. So, okay, so let's just screw those in, and they don't need to be tightened. They just need to be snug. If you tighten them too far, you'll bend the copper. It's very soft metal. So I'm going to scoop that thingy up. And I'm going to unplug my other pin because I don't want to accidentally turn that one on and get that one hot and then not realize it, because that is something that I might do. Okay, so we're going to turn this back on. All the settings are the same. And we're just going to wait for the tip to heat up. I've got my test wood so I can test and make sure that it's hot enough. And I think for this one, since it's a flat, I think I'm going to go around the edges and kind of burn around the edges a bit and give it a frame. That always looks kind of neat, in my opinion. Nope, not yet. Oh, I turned on the wrong one because I switched it over. Didn't I say that I did that? What a dork. Ha! My husband would be like, oh, you're not a dork. I beg to differ. So now it's getting hot. You can kind of feel it if you're sensitive to that. See? Yep, see? So what this one will do is you've got this little point here that'll make it a skinny line. Then you've got this edge that'll make kind of a shaded line. And you can bear down on the point end and kind of make a gradient kind of thing going on. And it's making those little bumps like that. Let me show you. Because of the rings. So that's what'll happen. It'll kind of sometimes catch the tip. Oh, it smells so good. See what I'm talking about? Yeah, and sometimes you might have to, you know, change a direction, but you can see, you know, what I'm talking about here. And it takes a little bit of finesse. It takes a little bit of getting used to in order to do all this. You can go over it fast to make it, you know, not quite so dark. You can go over it slowly and make it darker. A few passes to make it super dark. Smells good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this tip and we're going to just draw the outline. My hands are so shaky today. Kind of like that. So you don't really need to fill it in yet. You want to do the delicate, more precise things first. And then after that, you can come back and do your shading or whatever else you want to do. And there is a spot in the middle that isn't going to be burned. Okay. Like I said, I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking to get this like the design. Let's see, we're almost at an hour. I'll try and finish this before we go. I need my sanding block. There we go. Okay. And then this one. I'm going to make that one bigger. Just a little. And that one bigger just a little. There we go. And now we can fill it in and do the, if there's any shading that wants to be done. On this, it's pretty straightforward. It's dark or it's not. So I am just going to use that tip. And I'm going to fill it in like that. I really don't like using a sanding block for this. I would rather I have a piece of marble that I use. It's rough on one side. I got that at the thrift store too. Just found it laying there one day. There's the cat. Surprised she's not hollering at me. She's always hollering at me. Usually at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, that's fun. I think she's upset with us because we left her alone yesterday when we took the dog to the ghost town. So I'm going to try to make these little points here. Oh, carbon. Wasn't burning well. Little touch, little touch. Okay. There we go. It's pretty good, not too bad. Let's make this a little bigger here. And let's make this a little bigger here. That's good. And then we'll just take the side and go over this. I think I'm going to turn it up a bit because I want that to be really dark. So I turned it up to like 8, and there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and high. Well, actually, it starts at low and then 2, but. And the side is very rough right here. So it's going to give it some texture. Just put carbon. There's the cat. Now she's hollering at me. You know why? Because she just dirtied her litter box. She's saying, hey, human, come clean it out because, you know, I need it. She's such a prima donna, I swear. She's so neat and tidy. It's a good thing. Okay. Getting a little close to my hand there. I'm blowing the smoke away a bit. Okay. Now I may come back and do a little burn inside of that, but I won't do it with this tool because it's not the right shape. Let's flip this over. Sometimes when you have it up really high, the tip starts to glow. It's so cool looking. Oh no, I'm not a firebug. I'm sorry, who asked that? Actually, I have been the fire keeper when we have fire pits outside when the weather turns cold. For Arizona, southern Arizona, when it turns cold-ish, I should say, because really it doesn't get cold here. It gets desert cold. Occasionally we'll have 32 degrees, but not very often. Anyway, I'm the fire keeper. I've never built a fire that hasn't lit and stayed lit. I'm not saying that just to, you know, brag or anything, because it's true. Let's hold that differently. There we go. You always want to make sure that, you know, you're watching what you're doing here. But you can see how that's burning there. Carbon's building up. You can see the carbon because it looks like ash, and basically that's what it is. Ugh, that stinks. Probably shouldn't be breathing that. Well, that made my eyes water. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to dig out that marble block because it doesn't have fumes like that. Okay. And when I go to sand, I don't really want to sand too much on that side, on that edge, because it'll sand out the burned part because it's just on top. Ooh, sparks. Nice. Sparks and fire for my Hecate Journal. Awesomeness. Yes. She is the torchbearer at the crossroads. So that's kind of neat. Kind of a pretty little border there. High contrast stuff. I'm going to flip the pin over again because we've got a lot of carbon and ash right there. Yeah, and if you're ever using one of these and you just want it to see that now that I'm not using it, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's actually glowing. But once I start applying heat to the wood, it's like the wood just sucks the heat right off of the piece, off of the pen tip. Okay, so there you are. Let me just turn this off real quick. So here's what we did today. The Hecate thing. Let's just sand a little bit and want to wipe it a little. I may go over parts of that again because I'm not extremely happy with all of it, but that's okay. So there we have it. Our burned journal cover plaque thingy. What, kitty? What? Oh my god. You guys can hear that, right? I don't know what she's giving me hell about, but she's giving me hell. Spoiled. Okay, so there we have it. Thank you guys for coming along here and watching my little demo. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everyone, all my subscribers. You guys are great, and I appreciate you so much more than you know. I couldn't even vocalize it. So I will see you soon with more on the Hecate Journal, and I was going to show you other things that I did, but I don't want to keep you that long, so I'm just going to take off, and we'll do another video on another day, hopefully tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. Depends on how I feel. So, everyone, peace, love, and remember, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Make it a happy, crafty, and colorful one. And everybody take care of yourselves. Hug the people you can hug. I'll see you soon. Bye.